Which number, Rabbi?
Kakadosh Boker Or. Good morning. Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 28, page 74. Halacha Siman Kafei, Siman 25. Halacha Nun Gimel. אם שמע קדיש או קדושה בין הנחת תפילין של יד ותפילין של ראש, לא יפסיק לענות עמהם אלא שותק ושומע מכוון למה שאומרים. If you hear קדיש or קדושה between putting on תפילין של יד and תפילין של ראש, you're supposed to keep quiet. You're not supposed to answer, but you just have kavanah to what they're saying. B'diavad, if you did come and answer for Kaddish or Kedusha, you do not make the bracha al mitzvat tefillin again because safek berachot leakel. Look in the footnote 75.
I always never know what to do.
What about
So what you're going to see right now. 1 minute. 1 minute. It's the same thing. Kaddish, Kedusha, Baruch is the same. There are three opinions regarding this halacha. The Tur quotes the Rosh, ruling that it's forbidden to respond to Kaddish Kedusha while putting on tefillin. The Bet Yosef explained that according to the Rosh, brought down in Kaluchot Tefillin Atikta, ruling that though it's forbidden, if somebody did do it, it's not considered, it would not be considered a big sin, right? That he would have to come back from war. It is forbidden to interrupt or respond since it necessitates an extra blessing that one should not have to recite it. It's considered a major infraction if someone did respond. On the contrary, the Mordechai brings down Rabbeinu Tam that a person should interrupt. Should, yes. Should, yes. That's Rabbeinu Tam. Right, the Mordechai brings down Rabbeinu Tam that you should, and you don't have to make another bracha. The Agur, quoted by the Rashba, he comes and he ruled that it is permissible to interrupt, right? But if someone chooses to respond, he needs to make another bracha. So therefore, there's three-way machloket. Yeah, three-way machloket. Everyone listen carefully. Three-way machloket. No. Listen before you talk. Right? Not right. Listen, and then you right. Fine. Listening to the necessary response. So the Agur added that if someone simply listened to the others responding to Kaddish Kedusha, depending on the principle of Shomea Keoneh, so therefore he must make another beracha, right? Maran, in the Bet Yosef, he commented that this halacha depends on the debate of Rashi and Tosfot regarding someone who's in the middle of Amidah, and he hears the congregation say the Kedusha again. Okay? So therefore he comes and he says like this. He says, in the middle of Amidah, what are you supposed to do?
Stand there.
You also do the same thing. You keep quiet, and you have in mind what they're saying, but you're not allowed to stop. For Kedusha or Kaddish as well, right? And Baruchu as well, right? The exact same halacha. Okay, so therefore, you don't say it. You're not allowed to say it. You have to keep quiet. Yes, halacha l'maaseh. You keep quiet, right? It's always better to keep your mouth shut. Remember that, right? It's a general rule, by the way, right? It's a golden rule.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Rashi disagreed. You asked for it. I had to give it to you. Rashi disagreed. Yeah, he comes and he says Rashi disagreed, explaining that although it is possible to fulfill one's obligation by listening in this manner, this person is not guilty of interrupting, right? According to Rashi, Shomea Keoneh can help in this. So the words of Shulchan Aruch is, he should stop and listen to what they're saying. You heard? Areh, stop.
Can you mumble?
And then, no, right? And then you just listen to what they're saying. That has to be clarified, because if you listen to the other people in the congregation, so it's considered as if you said it. So what does that mean? So he says, the Rishon LeZion comes and he says that this will be helpful only if the cantor is someone who's trained in the halachot of the prayers. If the cantor is not, and is just a regular simple person, that's why it's important to get a good shliach tzibur. So then what's going to happen is that he's not going to have intentions to be motzi otani lechovah. So not listening to him reciting the Kaddish Kedusha doesn't help at all. So in that case, the person should just simply continue saying Amidah, don't do anything. Meaning like this, if you are in the middle of Amidah, and right now they start Kaddish or Kedusha, depends who's doing it. If it's a shliach tzibur kavua, and you know that the shliach tzibur is a good shliach tzibur, he's having in mind right now.
Everybody here has that in the synagogue. You don't throw up anybody here.
Okay, very good.
When you throw up a teenager, has he been taught this already?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. Yes, 100%. But again, you teachers, we're talking about here shachrit, right? Because in Arvit it's a little bit different. But 1 second. But you are right in a certain form. 1 minute.
If I'm doing the Amidah, do I?
Recording in progress.
So therefore, what comes out is that according to the Shulchan Aruch, he comes out and he says that if you have a shliach tzibur which is not going to be an expert, don't even stop. Just continue your Amidah, because anyway, he's not going to have you in mind. So therefore, in practice, again, the Shulchan Aruch ruled that one must not respond to the Kaddish or Kedusha. You should just listen to it. And therefore, that means even though both Rabbeinu Tam and the Rashba also brought down the right that you're allowed to, Maran did not rely upon them, and he said, no, you're not allowed to. But he didn't reveal the halakha for someone who did a mistake or not. Meaning he just did it, he just said, don't do it. But what happens if you already did it? So they assume that Maran's opinion is that a person does not make another beracha, because since you have some people that permit you lechatchila to do it, so you don't have to make a new beracha. Okay? Meaning, since some people permit you lechatchila to answer Kaddish Kodesh, so Saveh Beracha Lakel, why? Because I could rely upon their opinions that you were allowed to do it anyway, and that you don't even need a beracha, even though there was a three-way machloket as we already brought down. Okay? Fine. Now he comes and he says as follows. Okay? Number 54, Nun Dalet. אם אחר שבירך ברכת להניח תפילין, שמע שנתקרבים ובאים, what happens you already made the bracha of להניח תפילין, and you hear that they're coming close to Kaddish Kedusha. Now, if you're going to do the 7 krichot, you're not going to have enough time to listen to. Are you allowed not to do the krichot? Don't do the raps. Don't what?
But you already did the bracha.
Yeah, you did the bracha, but don't do the krichot. Right? You tighten already. You made the tightening, and now what you do is put right away the tefillin shel rosh, right? And then you're going to answer Kaddish Kedusha, and then you'll do the krichot. So that's what you just said. That's what you're going to do. Rashai. You're allowed to.
Oh wow! I
You're
never
allowed to.
knew this. I love
Yeah.
this.
You understood?
I love
Meaning,
this.
what you're allowed to do is
To me all
right
the time.
now. Why? Because if you remember, we already mentioned that the sheva krichot was a minhag. The real bracha is on the tightening. So the second that you already tighten the shel yad, you already fulfilled the mitzvah of the tightening. We do the sheva krichot al yad, and then we come, and then we're going to put on the tefillin shalosh. Here, in order to get out of the problem, first immediately put on the tefillin shalosh, answer the Kaddish Kedusha, and then you're going to do all the other ones. But nevertheless, the one that's a chacham, obviously you put it on your hands, right? You have your head on your shoulders, right? Some people they don't have their head on the shoulders. So he says, Shim ro'eh shekrovim lomar Kaddish Kedusha, right? So he comes and he says, right? If they see that they're coming close to, so don't make a bracha v'laniach tefillin. Wait, meaning what does that mean? Right, just like you touch the button and they go, wait, don't cross the street. Right, don't cross the street. Same thing. Meaning, if you're a chacham of the show, you know that they're going to start saying Kaddish Kedusha. What are you doing beracha v'laniach tefillin? So obviously, don't do that. But if they already did it, and all of a sudden they're surprised, they caught you off guard. So now, just don't do the 7 krichot. Put on the tefillin shalosh. Answer. Then you do the
tefillin shalosh. The straps are in the back. Is it considered?
So the last footnote it says Rabbeinu Asher the Rosh. He ruled that one must always put on the tefillin shel rosh, right, before, right, winding the strap around one's forearm. So the Tur brings down in the Shulchan Aruch, he brings down with this ruling. This is not our custom, however. We actually follow the Rizal that we first put the 7 straps. Meaning, according to the Shulchan Aruch, you're supposed to put on the tefillin shel rosh before putting the 7 straps. You're supposed to do that. But we do like the Arizal HaKadosh. And the Arizal HaKadosh says you do the 7 and then you put on the tefillin shel rosh. So because of that, that's why he says in this case you're going to do like the Shulchan Aruch. So therefore you come right away before even putting the 7.
I didn't even know this.
What? Okay. So then now you just learned. Now you just learned. Right? So therefore that's what he's saying. So based on this, when following the results and instructions will cause one to lose the opportunity of answering Kaddish Kedusha, postpone it until afterwards. Because again, you're doing like the Shulchan Aruch. The Mamar Mordechai testified that he followed these instructions, and a number of Achorim concur with this. They agreed with this. After all, it cannot be that he's wrong, because he's doing the Shulchan Aruch. So what's the problem? Therefore, although we don't do that usually, and we follow that Arizal HaKadosh, in this case, follow the Shulchan Aruch in order to answer Kaddish and the Kedusha.
Like the Talit to go to the back.
Yes. The Rav Eliyahu Mani disagreed with this, though. Remember that many times if you're going to go like the Kabbalah, they're going to disagree. So the Rishon LeZion refuted this ruling. He said no, that we go by the majority of the poskim, and therefore, if you feel comfortable following the ruling of the Rosh Maran, in this situation, for sure you're allowed to do so in order to answer the Kaddish and the Kedusha. Although the Rosh and Maran ruled that one must put on the Tefillin Shalosh immediately after tightening the strap of the Tefillin Shel Yad, the Mamar Mordechai said it brought down in the Mishabra, and the Rishon LeZion pointed out that even when following this formula, it is necessary to ensure that the Tefillin Shel Yad remain fastened on their arm until one finishes putting on the Tefillin Shel Rosh. Meaning, don't just tighten, go to the Rosh, but the Yad is all over the place.
Right.
It has to be tightened enough that it could stay. Even if you do one, you're right. Even if you do one or you do something that it's going to stay right in its proper place.